Bum Podcast.
Bum Podcast.
Between you and me.
Between you and me.
All right. So this week in our podcast, something that's hot off the press that I want to talk about is integrity and what I'm teaching my son. Integrity and what I'm teaching my son. And so to get started, I want to share, what the textbook definition or a couple of textbook definitions of integrity is. Before I do that, do you want to give a stab at what you think integrity means? And I know we talk about it a lot. Or you want me to share the textbook?
I got so many different blurbs of what integrity means that we done talked about. I think you should just go ahead.
All right, I'll just roll with it then. So one definition of integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. All right. That sounds like a pretty good one.
That's all right.
All right. Let's see. Merriam-Webster says it's firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values. And then it says incorruptibility, which I love. Incorruptibility. What about that?
That one's a lot better.
Yeah. Then I see a couple, these sayings. It says integrity is doing what is the right thing, even when no one is watching.
Yep, that's one that you hear a lot.
Yep, integrity, the choice between what's convenient and what's right.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, that was I never heard that one before, but I like that one, man. Then let's see.
I don't necessarily with that one. I agree with it being a choice between what's convenient. I don't necessarily think it's between what's convenient and what's right.
Okay, I'll let you sit on that.
Okay.
Let's see. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Integrity choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. One of my good ones is integrity is truth of stance no matter the circumstance. I tell you that one all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This says integrity, choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain.
I can tell you, well, now that we've done some, I can tell you or at least the way that I look at integrity.
Okay.
Because like the comment I made, I don't necessarily think integrity is doing what is like choosing between what was the word?
Convenient and right.
Convenience, yes. Mm-hmm. Choosing between what's convenient and what's right. Because I think something being right is subjective in a sense. Because moral rightness is different to different people. So I don't really put integrity on it being what's right because it's hard to measure what's right.
I don't agree with that, but So
I wasn't done.
All right, my bad. Go ahead, dog. Go ahead. I'm standing down.
Bringing it home. You feel?
Go ahead, bring it home, man. Go on.
So that's what I say. I don't think it's a measure of what's right because what's right is subjective and different for different people, so it can't be measured. I think at the end of the day, it's choosing to keep your word. What you say you stand on. We may not agree on what's right, but you did what you said you were going to do. You stood for what you said you stand for. And so when we're talking about integrity, I see it more so on that side. And that goes back to like the one that I guess is my favorite description of integrity. And that's being a man of my word, even if it hurts me personally.
Even if it costs me personally, got it. Uh-huh.
Even if it costs me personally. That's my favorite, I guess, description of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I commit to something, I'm committed to that. And whether that hurts me to do or it costs me, no matter to what extent it goes, I'm going to stand on what I said. I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do because that's integrity, because I strive to have integrity. So that's my favorite description of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What do you have to say about that, sir?
So rather than discuss, I guess, based on what you just said, I'm gonna go back to one of the reasons why I want to even have this conversation with you, and how that word right rings true for me. Um, First of all, one of the things that they talk about in integrity, one in a lot of the definitions, they talked about moral, and it's all about that moral compass. And the one thing is, everybody's moral compass is not calibrated the same way. I will
Right.
tell you that. Um, I've heard this. I've heard it said that there's no black or white. There are only shades of gray.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with that
Mm-hmm.
line of thinking, only because if it's okay, you heard me say this before. Truth don't need no help to stand. If it limps, it's a lie,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's like, if you have to find reasons to justify your right, how right is it? Okay, because if it's right, it stands on its own. It doesn't necessarily need justification. It doesn't need assistance. It doesn't need help. And so when I start looking at it from the perspective of doing what's convenient versus what is right, when people start having to justify their rightness by saying, well, my moral code is different than yours, that's when it starts to get murky. And then you stop talking about integrity and you start talking about something altogether different.
So I, to a certain extent, agree with that, and I think that's why I don't judge integrity based off of something being right, because I don't necessarily see that as a truth don't need no help to stand situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like just innately, it's just the nature of the world that people's morals are different, and so the conversation doesn't really even. That's why I don't. The conversation of integrity doesn't rely on that side to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I just feel that's innately everybody, like what they choose or what's right to them isn't going to be right to other people. People have different points of view. So we could be in a
Mm-hmm.
situation together and I decide to change what I'm going to do because I'm like, you know what? That's not right for me. Or like, this is what right will be for me. But
Okay.
then I've
Okay.
gone against my word. And so it's where do you find the balance between that? So for me, it's more so doing what you say you're going to do, being about what you say you're going to be about is what integrity
Okay.
is to me.
Okay. So let's unpack this, right? And we're going to unpack this real time based on a conversation I needed to have with you today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Based on a conversation or a byproduct of something that happened to us on yesterday. Okay.
Okay.
So here it is. This is this moment of full disclosure. This is the moment of um this is my repenting moment. This is my coming clean moment, right? And so that's the first thing. Saying, what am I teaching my son? That was the whole part about what am I teaching my son? Because I did something yesterday, and when I did it yesterday, it could have been considered right, except it didn't sit well with me, and it didn't sit well with me. It didn't really hit me. I mean, when it happened, I was like, oh, it's all right. It's cool. It's okay because it was convenient. It wasn't wrong. It was convenient. It wasn't wrong. Because again, there you go. That difference between convenient and right, right?
Mm-hmm.
But last night when I was praying, man, it started hitting me in the back of the head, man, like hard, boom, 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 like that wasn't right. Now the reason why that happened is because there's something in me. There's a moral compass in me that keeps me true. Okay, like there's something that is activated inside of me that does not allow me to decide what's right or wrong. There's something inside of me that does not allow me to decide what's right or wrong, because right and wrong is black and white, right? And so when you start looking at shades of gray, you look at ways, and this is just my personal opinion. When you start looking at shades of gray, start looking at ways to justify right and wrong, as opposed to there being a stance of right and wrong. So for me, this is what I'm talking about in pure disclosure. So on
Okay.
yesterday, all right, you have something to say?
I somewhat agree with that, but I don't necessarily know if I completely agree with that.
Okay,
But
that's
you can
fine.
go
That's
ahead.
fine. All
Yeah.
right, let me go and repent. Let me go and repent. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm making it public, and I'm making it public I'm making it public because I think I need to make it public because because that's a part of me and my integrity, and I don't want nobody ever think I think I'm perfect or that I am perfect, and so me bearing this is a part of that. It's a part of my penalty. It's a part of my wearing the scarlet letter. It's part of my bearing my shame. But at the same time, it's a part of my sharing with you that I did something that I know wasn't right, and I had to make it right. Okay.
Okay.
You ready? All right. So on yesterday, I called the warranty people and I asked them about a warranty. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the mileage that I got, because they have a waiting period on the warranty, is 1,000 miles, 1 month and 1,000 miles, correct? And so the first thing I did was I went and I got your title, and I gave the miles on the title, but I told them that wasn't the right mileage, which they would have gone with that mileage. But there was some of me saying, no, I gotta give them the mileage, right? There's some of me that said I had to give them the mileage. And so remember, I called you and I was like, I need to talk to you ASAP because I want to know what that mileage was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you gave me the mileage. And you gave me the mileage, right?
Right.
So when you gave me the mileage, what I did was I relayed the mileage to them minus 500.
Mm-hmm.
Minus 500. So instead of giving them 669, I gave them 169. And the implication to me giving them 169 was, therefore now you're 500 miles closer to your warranty coming into effect than you would be if it was based upon what their criteria were. Your warranty going to effect. Does that make sense?
Yes, you cut out a little bit there, but yes, that
Okay,
makes sense.
so that put us. I mean, that put you 500 miles closer. Instead of you having to go 1,000 miles, now you don't have to go 500 miles because I added 500 miles to the number I gave them. Mm-hmm. So they thought you had 500 more miles on the car than you actually had, right?
Well, they thought I had 500 less.
No, they thought you had 500 more. Wait a minute, let me see. Hold on. Because let's say, for instance,
well, I was gonna say they thought I had 500 less. But based on the warranty kicking in after 1,000 miles, they thought I was 500 miles. They would think I was 500 miles closer because in the current time I was 500 miles past the number that was given.
There you go. Right. Correct. So there we go. And so, and I was cool, man. You know, I mean, they gave me the warranty. I mean, it didn't change the amount of the warranty or anything. All it did was meant that the warranty would kick in 500 miles sooner. Mm-hmm. Now, in full disclosure, I mean, and we typically don't talk, religion or anything on the podcast. We give, we're honest about our views. But I was praying last night, man, and the real thought that came to my mind was, are you trusting the warranty? Or are you trusting God? Like, that was what hit me, man. And I was like, dang, it was hard, man. It was hard. Like, from when that hit me, I couldn't pray about much else, but all I could do was repent. And even in my praying, I was saying, okay, God, I made that mistake, right? So forgive me for that mistake. But I was trying to skirt around rectifying the mistake. I just wanted forgiveness for the mistake. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Right? Which ain't real repentance. It ain't repentance if you ain't willing to go back and right the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be just like me slapping you and saying, man, I ain't gonna slap you no more. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't gonna stop the fact that I already slapped you and I've already wronged you, right? Right. And so that was the thing. I was like, oh my God, man. So I need to fix that. And so even as far as today was concerned, I got up this morning and on my mind was, what I need to do is I need to right that wrong. And so another moment of integrity. So, I mean, I answered the bill on that one. So, right, cool. Truth stands no matter the circumstance, what you do, and nobody else is watching. Because honestly, we could have got away with it. Mm-hmm. Honestly, we could have got away with it. Nobody had ever known because they won't come check your car. We could have gotten away with it. But it just didn't sit right with me. And I call myself being a man of integrity. And so I needed to right that wrong. So cool. So tell you the next thing that happened. The next thing that happened was I called them. And when I called them, this lady answered the phone. And I told her, I need to add 500 miles to what I gave you or subtract 500 miles from what I gave you, whichever it is, because I gave you the wrong mileage yesterday. And so she says, okay, I'll put it in my notes, but I need to get you over to the mileage department so that they can correct it in the system, right? So she put it in her notes and she transferred me over to the mileage department. They had me on hold for 20 minutes, man. They had me on hold for 20 minutes. And I was like, well, I tried. Right. Well, I tried. And I hung up the phone. And the thing was, I could have again said, I tried. And it, I told them, you know what I'm saying? That's their fault that they didn't do anything about it. But it still just didn't sit right with me because I wasn't giving them the full opportunity to forgive me because I wasn't giving them all the information that I was supposed to give them, right? And so I called back again and I talked to the lady, whoever it was that answered the phone, and she said, well, maybe they just passed you to the wrong department. Let me put you through to the mileage department. She put me through to the mileage department. I finished the transaction. I hung the phone. It took a whole weight off of me, right? It took a whole weight off of me. But the whole time it was like, for me, it was, man, here I am allowing something just that simple to cause me to go against myself and what I would typically do, causing me to upset that moral compass that typically resides inside of me. And honestly, bigger than, I don't even know if you knew that I did it. You know what I'm saying?
Did what?
That I gave him 500 miles less than what you told me, or more than what you told me. Whatever, more than what you told me. Did you know I did that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know I didn't give them exact? I told you how many miles I
gave.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
500, but
I did tell you.
Remember you.
Yes, I did. I did tell you. And what I felt, one of the biggest weights on that was, what am I sharing with my son? What am I teaching my son? Oh man, and it gets worse than that, because I remember just having a conversation with you a couple of days ago. And what was that conversation? Oh, I was saying, we did just have one of those conversations. Yes, we did. Because I was like, if you cheat somebody for 10% or $10, then $1,000 gets taken away from you, or something like that. But when you treat somebody right for $10, then you get $20 in return.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, all this stuff is just flowing through my head. I'm like, man, what am I teaching my son? Like, why did I do that? I mean, it didn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? And so I at that point, I knew I needed to have the conversation with you to let you know and apologize to you, son. I'm sorry, because I should not have done that, right? But also to really just put it out there. I mean, because it was something that I did that was wrong, and so I shouldn't have done it. Yeah.
All right. I accept, and I hear everything that you just said. So this kind of brings me to, I don't know, it might be an interesting question, maybe a philosophical question. If you're up for that.
Okay.
And so this almost seems like one of those moments you see on TV. Where, TV moment. Right. You said what?
I said TV moment.
Right. TV moment. And where it's like, maybe like whatever show, a group of friends that get together and they do something and they like, I don't know, they drive the parents' car and they accidentally mess it up, or like anything like that, like a situation, and now they're all caught up in this situation where, I don't know, they all kind of are in the wrong, but they can get away with being in the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to those situations, you'll have the one person that it weighs on them heavily, and so they decide they need to confess. They need to be upfront about it. And so, whereas I always understood those situations, and understood why they would do that, I always have like a slight hang up in there. Which is funny because this has never been like a big thing to me. It's never like a big hang up, but it's always just like, like I see it, but and so it's funny that we're having this conversation. So my question is, I guess, so when your decision now affects the other people, and to take the weight that you feel off of yourself, now these people are lumped into what you did, are lumped into your confession as well. You're you're changing their scenario and their situation as well to get a weight off of you. And I just never knew how I felt about that.
Okay.
Because on one hand, I see it like, well, if I don't tell the whole story, then I haven't fully confessed. And on the other hand, I feel like, but then at what point, like, shouldn't every person's confession be up to them?
Man, that's funny. That's funny. I got a story of something I saw on Instagram today. Not Instagram, Twitter today. That's sort of like that. But
Because it was just interesting to me because I mean, like, it doesn't bother me. You can fix the miles,
Mm-hmm.
but say like if I was like, oh well, now it's a problem because now you've gone back and you fixed the mileage, and now that affects the warranty on my side.
Right.
And so what would in a way, it's like that decision was made for me.
And I'm glad you added that piece because it gave me a moment to recalibrate my thought. That's what integrity is all about, though. Because here's the thing, and I feel this way wholeheartedly. If you gamble, you gamble, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you gamble and you are not willing to lose, then you're not really gambling. If you gamble and you're not willing to lose, then you're not really gambling. And I'm saying that from the perspective of, if you have friends that go out with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they go out with you and you all agree to do something wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you all should also be agreeing that if we do something wrong and it goes wrong, then we agree to pay the consequences for doing it wrong, for what we did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And in the situation you said, they agreed to do something wrong, something did go wrong, but they didn't want to
Well,
suffer.
even in a situation where you don't agree to do something wrong, something just happens. And
But
I guess the agreeing to do something wrong is sliding it under, like slipping it under the cover. All right, so
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. And so the thing is, like, if we want to be people of integrity and be in full disclosure, right? There's always a chance that we can find a gray area, we can find a loophole, we can find a way around it, but it doesn't make us any better as people. And if it don't even have to be from a religious aspect, but if it's even more from a spiritual aspect and you believe in karma, again, you have to be willing to accept the bad karma for the bad that you're doing. And otherwise, you're willing to death, cheat death, right? And so, I'm having I understand what you're saying, but my thing is, okay, yeah, you can be mad at me, not you. Well, you could too, but the people can be mad at me for wanting to get it off of my conscience, but yeah, and they have a right. They have every right to be mad at me because, you know what, we got away scot free, but you're gonna go back and you're gonna fess up. They got every right to be mad at me, but what they can't do is take away my right to clean my conscience. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to live with my conscience. They don't have to live with my conscience. Now they can choose to not want to go out and do wrong with me again. And that's the price I got to pay. But again, if you're willing to go out there and do something wrong, you have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to get caught up.
I guess I can see that. It's funny because or you have something to say?
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna bring up it's how do I word this? It's almost like two kinds of trust,
Uh-huh.
right? Because I know like there's a certain, like, say for people that be involved in criminal activity, there's a code to that. And the code is we all do this together. If one person goes down, they take the full fall.
Uh-huh.
Right? Ain't no snitching, basically.
Uh-huh.
And so that's very interesting because for like the simple connection, it seems like the integrity that I laid out was more like that integrity, and the integrity that you laid out was more like the situation you described. Whereas you you come forward because of the weight that you have on you
Mm-hmm.
for your need to be in the truth and be a person of integrity. And so it was just because I was thinking, like if we're in a situation, say I mean just like the situation we had with the car, and so then you went and you rectified it, then I could therefore go for it and lose, I guess, trust in you, to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if I could trust you to hold me down throughout whatever you're gonna do what your conscience dictates.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then on the other hand, what I can trust now is that you'll always do what your conscience dictates. And
Right.
so that's why that was so interesting to me because it's almost like two different kinds of trust, and it's two different kinds of I guess integrity as well. So it's kind of finding where's that's the difference between integrity with morals and integrity just based on what I've stated.
So no, that's the difference in integrity, period. But
I guess
to your
you.
point, so I got you gave me another scenario that I want to discuss with you. But what I didn't say in that scenario was that my coming clean was going to be ratting you out.
All right.
Right. So it's not like I'm gonna go say, well, I was in the car with Jeffro, John, and Joshua, right?
Uh-huh.
And something happened. No, I'm be like, look, you know what? I wasn't supposed to take your car, and I took your car, and this happened.
Oh well, yeah, that's different. I'm cool
You-
with that.
yeah. So that's
I've
the
always
part
been fine with that. Like, if I'm willing to accept the full freight of it because that's integrity to me, that's what my morals dictate.
right.
Then, which is crazy because that's one of my new favorite quotes, my new favorite, I guess, mantras. Do as your conscience dictates.
Yep.
But yeah, so, I guess if you're willing to take that weight on you, then I always feel like, I mean, yeah, that's perfectly right. That is the right thing to do. It was just always a hang up for me. It's like, they'll be like, all right, and Ray Ray was in the car and Pookie was in the car.
No. Integrity is not ratting out everybody else. It's owning up to my mistake, what I
Okay.
did wrong.
Because
Like
that's what I
even
was like. Then I therefore I take away the opportunity or the ability for them to either go forward with things the way that they were, or for them to even have their own moral battle and make the right moral decision.
I agree
I
with you
take
100.
that out
percent
of their hands.
I agree 100%. So I got three or four scenarios real quick. So the first thing is in the situation that we're talking about now, what I did, right? So me now putting you further away from getting your warranty. Well, because I was paying for the warranty, it don't matter no way, because you ain't got to say so, and because before that you ain't have no warranty.
Mm-hmm.
But just in case you were paying for it and I did that, then a part of that retribution for me to you would probably look like, and if something happens in the interim, I'll take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
I see that.
So that's one of the things there. So the
Doing
scenario,
what you think is right, but still making good with the people involved.
there you go. All right. Which essentially that's why I got the warranty, because I knew, I mean, if something go wrong, I'm probably gonna end up having to cover the freight for it. And so by me putting the warranty on it, it allows you to be able to pay $100, and then everything else is taken care of. And so it was, and I mean, even I can even justify in my mind why I did it, because like, man, look, you know what? Really, we should have bought the warranty on it 2,000 miles ago, and we didn't. And so it, just adding 500 miles to it ain't gonna be no big deal. Blah 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 blah. But all of that again is trying to get into gray areas and trying to justify, if truth don't need no help to stand. If it limps, it's a lie. And so that's where I am on that. So a few scenarios, you hit up on something and it was like, wow. So I saw this on Facebook the other day, in this bruh group. They were saying, basically, how would you feel about a brother who wouldn't cover for you with your wife, right? And so it was that whole moral dilemma. Like, would you see him as being a true man because he has integrity, or would you see him as a sellout because he won't cover for you when you're doing your wrong? And whichever way you choose tells you something about yourself, not necessarily tells you something about the person.
Right. And it's funny because it's such a almost like a difficult scenario. That's what I was thinking when you I guess describing the like now, but if something happens in the interim, I'll take care of it. Because it really is a weight of responsibility. And really, I mean, because at the end of the day, it's the high road. It's holding yourself to a standard.
Yep.
And so it's interesting because, like, I mean, sometimes you're just gonna have to take on that full responsibility as a part of taking on that high road, which is interesting because I don't. So, like, the code, at least the code is at least the measure of good friendship for what you're taught by, I guess, the streets, for lack of a better term, the streets. It's just like, yeah, I cover for you, but then I check you on it.
Right. But
Um,
well, yeah, yes. There's no but. Yes. I do have a but it ain't really a but. But yes, you're right. A true friend.
because I'm not condemning you, but then it's like, all right, I've given you the opportunity to make the correct decision.
Right. The issue that I had with it, and I see where you're going 100%. And my second story is going to kind of allude to it, but The difference is in this case, it was in marriage. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying don't have your wife come to me and ask me about it, because I'm gonna tell you up front, I ain't gonna lie for you.
Right. And that's, you know what I'm saying, something that you definitely can.
Yeah, like, yeah. I'm not. I mean, you know,
set your boundaries, I guess, in the beginning. Yeah. Just know what kind of relationship we have.
Yeah. I got guys, man, that are married, and whenever they seem like they're going crazy, you know, and I step away from the relationship, because I'm not going to get caught up in it. I'm not going to laugh at you or, you know, smile in your face and make you think I'm okay with what you're doing, any of that stuff. Nah, we're good. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing. And that whole street code, man, is funny. I'm going to tell you, there was a situation when I was in college. There were a couple situations when I was in college, but this one in particular, we went to a store. And one of the guys that were with us in the store stole something. And they tried to get all three of us. Mm-hmm. And bruh, I was a jackrabbit. I ran, because my thing was, I ain't stealing nothing. I had no clue that the dude was stealing anything. And what he was stealing, I don't even consume. So I ain't finna get caught up into that. Luck would have it, they got let go, or, you know, whatever. Because the guy took us outside and said, stand here while we go get the police. Like, wait a minute, stand here while you go get the police?
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
But then
I can't promise that I wouldn't have took off.
Oh, bro, I was going. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, no, that not for me. But then the bad thing about it was, the guys got mad at me because I ran. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. You got mad at me because I ran. First of all, if you're gonna put me in a position like that, you need to get me in agreement with it prior to putting me in that position. You know what I'm saying? Don't expect me to stand and have your back and I have no clue what you're doing and you just adding me in. I have to have every right. And so when you start talking about street code, it's just like you going somewhere with somebody and they decide to steal, and you in the car with them, like, and you know, they can't be mad if you ain't got their back. Because guess what?
Because you have to at least respect me enough to let me know what you're doing.
There you go.
And you can't expect that same, like, that respect of standing there in solidarity with you from me if you ain't even respect me enough to let me know what situation, like what the situation was, and have the decision,
right,
the ability to decide whether to be a part of that situation or not.
There you go. So that's one place. That's one way.
Disrespectful instead of being a lack of respect.
There you go. And that's funny, because that's where people get street code messed up at. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like I need to be down for you for whatever. I'm like, no, we need to be in agreement about what being down for you looks like.
Exactly.
Which even goes to the same thing when I was talking about, like, the guy, you know, when they was talking about, would you cover me with my girl? Like, you need to find out before you send your girl to me whether I'll cover for you. Because I'll tell you straight up, no, I ain't gonna cover for you, dog. No, don't tell her you was at my house. Don't tell her you was with me. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't gonna tell that lie. And so that's important. And the final thing that's interesting, because you brought it up, was something I saw on Twitter today. And it was a young lady on Twitter talking about her roommate, and saying her roommate had an STD, or they call it STI now, whatever, I don't know, but she had a STD, and she slept with 4 guys, man, and they were on the football and the basketball team.
That's crazy.
And yeah,
that's actually illegal.
You're telling me,
like a felony or something,
bruh. Yeah,
I don't know. I might be wrong,
but the young lady,
I
feel like it is. I feel like it is. But the young lady was asking, the question was, should she report her roommate?
Yeah.
And I wasn't gonna try to answer the question here, but
okay.
But then, but
you know, like, let the dude know, be like, hey man, he burning. I mean, it's your decision. I'm just gonna let you know.
That's the dialogue that was taking place, and I didn't follow the thread at all. But that goes to an integrity question. Like, as the person who has full knowledge of this, what is my part in having integrity in this? You know what I'm saying? I can confront. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I can confront my roommate, but is that having integrity about confront my roommate? Especially if my roommate's not gonna fess up. You know what I'm saying? And so it's almost like I did see somebody say it's like being complicit to a crime.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why that's one of those areas where, you know, again, your integrity, even though your integrity may harm somebody else, or, you know, or put somebody else in a bad place, do you disregard your integrity to cover for them, because essentially that's what you would be doing.
Oh, I ain't
And
covering
so,
for you in that situation. I'm
okay,
just
all
gonna
right,
put that
all
out
right.
there.
So,
But yeah, I feel
all
like
right,
that's one of those like that conversation needs to be had. Not even
yeah,
that it needs to be had, but like in a relationship, covering for you only goes so far. Even if there's a
well,
relationship in which I cover you for you for some things, there's some things it's like, all right, you kind of off the reservation with that one.
right, right, right.
Um, and so yeah, but I feel like the best way to even know where you stand with the person, and that's in any situation, whether it's a situation like of integrity or not, just any situation when you talk about figuring out where you stand and where are the boundaries of a relationship with a person, the only way to understand that is by having a conversation about it.
Yeah,
And so I feel like
yeah.
that's necessary.
And most of all, I feel like at the end of the day, if I can look at you and see that you have integrity, I'd feel better about having you in my corner than if you are a person that I know I can count on to get in trouble with. And the reason why is I don't know if you ever heard this, but they say it's like, have you ever been around somebody you know and they just blatantly lying, and you know they lying? You know what I'm saying? Because y'all boys, and you hear them lying, you just know they lying. Like, how do you feel about that person? Because if they just lying for no reason, it's because they're a liar, and the lying ain't gonna stop just because you their boy. They're gonna lie on you too.
Right.
And so that's
Because
one of
there's
those
a
situations.
I mean, there's a level. I mean, we've even had conversations like that, but where you say like people don't possess the qualities, like the natural qualities, to just be
Yep,
good friends.
yep,
Because it's
yep,
like for a vast majority of relationships, it's like there's a line that once it gets past there, all right, it's every man for itself now.
yep, yep.
So it's
There
like
it
if you'll
is.
see them lying in this situation, it's time to start thinking about, do I want to deal with that person? Where's that line
Where's that
at?
line? Because that line, that hey, I might be on that cut line, and I need you, and you don't, yeah, nah. And so that's why, like, again, looking at somebody who has integrity and that's willing to do the right thing anyway, it might not be the best feeling to be around them, because that means you're always walking a tightrope. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, when it counts, what their answer is going to be. You know where they're going to stand.
Right, and
And
that's one of
so,
those things that I found in situations because it's one of those cliche statements where people are like, "Oh, just be yourself,"
yeah,
that kind of statement. And what I
mm-hmm.
found through that is that like people that are just be themselves, and like no matter what's going on, no matter what the situation is, even if people don't like what you do in that moment, there's still an underlying respect at the end of the day
There
that
you
this
go. Yep,
person
yep,
does them at the end.
yep.
Like I know that I can trust and believe that they will always act in accordance to who they are. And so
Right,
even if I don't
right.
necessarily agree with how you act, I can respect the fact that you're going to be yourself no matter the situation. And so I feel
And
like, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say that. So when you talk about terms of convenience and right, I look at right as being a true north,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, if you know somebody has a true north, you don't have to worry about what they consider to be being right or wrong, because they
Mm-hmm.
have a true north. But it's those
Right.
people that don't have a true north that you have,
Right.
you have
They
to wonder.
shifty.
Yeah, they're shifty. That's the thing. So, like, if they don't have no true north, they don't have no moral compass.
I
It's
never
like at
know
any
what
given
you
day.
gonna do.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not integrity. I don't care. How you sum it up. That's not integrity. You can't make that integrity. So anyway, yeah.
I could agree
But
with that, sir.
as your father, I have to ask myself on a daily basis, what am I teaching my son? Because believe it or not, you may not be in an active classroom, but I know you watch everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you know it affects you or not, even just the act of what I did yesterday helps you. What would help you gray in line somewhere that you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't. And so that's why I want. Go ahead.
Well, I'll let you finish.
But that's why I want to bring it to you, because I want to say, you know what, I caught myself graying a line, and I'm gonna hold myself accountable.
Mm-hmm. And I was just like in response to that, and I guess in even just all of this was I appreciate and I respect the fact that you would go out of your way to make it plain, and to be it set a good example for me. So I do appreciate that, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Integrity and what I'm teaching my son.
All right.
You got anything else on that?
No, I think that's a good place.
All right. right, cool. Bum Podcast.
Bum Podcast.
Between you and me.
Between you and me. Holla.
Holla.